Reeve is directed by Fede Alvarez and stars Jane Levy, Dylan Minnett, and Stephen Lang. And well, this film was directed by the same guy who brought us the remake of Evil Dead a few years ago. And it's also produced by Sam Raimi. And the movie is about these three people who are robbers that decide to rob from a man who's blind, and because they discovered that this guy has $300,000. And as you see in the previews, pretty much what the story deals with is that these three are making a living off of stealing from people's houses and selling them. And the story also deals with the main girl, Rocky, played by Jane Levy, who's trying to get her sister out of Detroit and go to live in California. And when they discover that this blind man is living in this neighborhood that's very isolated, they decide to rob him on one night. Decide to rob him for $300,000. Now, going into this film, I was really looking forward to this a lot because based on the trailers alone, I had a feeling this is the kind of movie that looks like it's trying to be sort of a cross between Panic Room and kind of like Daredevil. And as the movie goes along, you start to see that the main girl, Rocky, and her friend are having to escape from this house because when they go in, they are discovering that the man is, even though he's blind, he can still hear everywhere they go. This is a spoiler, but it's also from the trailer. One of them gets killed, and then the other two have to leave the house. And lo and behold, I really love this movie a lot. This movie had me on the edge of my seat. I mean, it might seem like, for some, it might seem like your typical by-the-numbers home invasion movie, but it's actually beyond that, because this movie really got my attention from just seeing the blind man, played by Stephen Lang, going through all these situations in order to try to track these people and trying to track the people to the house. And the movie is very well directed. It has a great sense of style. With you see there's one part where the camera actually stays on one long take when they first enter the house, and it stays on that shot for a while, and it kind of gives you the vibe similar to how they did with Panic Room. And I know a lot of people are given that vibe seeing the movie because it does kind of take some liberties with that, with how the way the camera is set up. And also Jane Levy, her haircut in the movie looks like something that it looks like it's the same haircut that Jodie Foster had in that movie too. And the boyfriend as well, he looks like Jared Leto's hairstyle from Panic Room as well. So I can see that a lot of people might be thrown off by the fact that the movie is kind of a knockoff of Panic Room, but I feel like it's a lot different from that regard. And another thing I really loved about this film is the performances are pretty good. You have Jane Levy, who I thought she was really good. You know, she pulled off the really high end, just trying to struggling with her sister and trying to get her situation out of the way. You know, where she's not really wanting to get in any trouble. She just wants to get a better life for her sister. And I really went along with her story where she was going. And I also enjoyed the other guy, Dylan Minnett, I believe the guy's name. He was kind of like the techno guy for the group, where he's good with like gadgets and things, and he's good with security because his father worked in the security department, and that's how they're able to get into access to these houses that they break into. And the one that stands out the most is Stephen Lang. This guy, every time he was on screen, I was like getting so like on the edge of my seat every time I see him going through this house and looking for the people. And man, he scared the shit out of me in some parts, because for a blind man, you don't want to fuck around with this guy. He is really brutal in this movie. Another thing I like too is the fact that this movie also deals with a plot twist, which I won't reveal, but it really threw me off with how they did it, because I was like, wow, that just made it really just disturbing for me. You know, it made it to a point where as you go along, you actually start to see what's going on and why all the events that are surrounding this blind man are happening. And that really got to me a lot. Another thing I love too is the score. The score is very haunting in a lot of parts, where some parts of it kind of remind me of, well, I don't know, I know this is kind of a weird comparison, but the music in a way kind of reminds me of like how the score sounded like in the Conjuring movies, where you have that really haunting score surrounding the house and everything. When you see the characters walking through the house, and especially at the beginning when you see one character, and it kind of plays like the opening theme to The Conjuring at the beginning of the movies. So yeah, I really do love this movie a lot. If you like a great thriller that gives you on your edge of your seat, kind of that brings you back to those home invasion films, but also does a new spin on it, you'll definitely love this movie. My only real con is that I guess this was kind of obvious, even though he's not really in the movie much. I was not really too big on the boyfriend character, and the character's name is literally Money, and this guy was just your typical asshole character who was just in on it to rob these people, just rob this guy, and really had no really emotion to his character or anything. He was just, he was just that kind of douchebag character that you see with like your standard home invasion films, and that character bugged me a lot. But he wasn't in the movie that much, so that was just kind of a minor thing. But overall, though, I really love this film a lot. If you want to see Stephen Lang and seeing his really brutal performance and really haunting and very menacing presence, you would definitely love this film. And plus, for a guy at his age, he is really buff. He's looking like Stallone does and shit. So I do highly recommend the film, and I'm going to give the film a 9.5 out of 10. What did you guys think of Don't Breathe? Comment below, and if you guys like what you see here, you can check me out on YouTube, and I'll be having more reviews coming up here soon. I'll see you guys later.